Tink here, and I just wanted to do a quick second impression video of my new Durston X-Mid Solid that came in the mail this week. This is my second time setting it up, and the first time I used the 4 short stakes that came with the tent. This time I'm using the long ones to stake out the 4 corners. When I set my tent up a couple of days ago, it was raining and had been raining for days here in Maine. Really, it's been raining for weeks here in Maine, but anyway, the ground was super saturated and the stakes just kind of like sliced through the ground, pulled out of the ground. I had a hard time getting a nice tight base established, so I'm using the long stakes and see how that goes. So I got a pretty good square set up here. Had to leave for a second, go get my poles because I forgot to bring them outside. And you'll notice, I call attention to it in the video here in just a second, but don't stand on your tent, guys. Watch your feet. I was focused on trying to get my pole in and not puncture my tent, and ended up stepping on the bottom of it. So watch your feet, don't do that, don't be like me. So I got my 4 corners staked out, got my poles in and extended, and felt like I had a pretty decent pitch here. I'm still really learning how to fiddle with the line locks. I feel like you're supposed to be able to adjust it a little bit, and I have a hard time getting them to adjust once I've got my tent staked out, so I need to play around with that a little bit more. The ground was also partially frozen today, which gave me a little bit better grip. The poles didn't slide around nearly as much as they did the first time. I also realized that I do have some extra guy lines attached to the ridge line, so I'm going to use the 4 shorter stakes that came with the tent to stake out my vestibule, and also for the peak support guy lines. I didn't do that the first time because it was raining and I wasn't trying to get everything soaked, and I wasn't trying to get soaked, so this time I fully staked out all of the guy lines and the vestibule, and overall pretty satisfied with how this turned out. The whole setup took me about 7.5 minutes, including like unzipping the fly and getting into the tent. So yeah, pretty solid setup here. And I still, again, I've already mentioned that I need to play around with the line lock some and get used to or figure out how to adjust them. I need to probably practice a little bit more with exactly how to tension the peak guy lines for maximum support. And I would like to add some additional guy lines for support in bad weather. But overall, easy setup, and so far, so good.